Thank you, Luke. Born and raised in Ithaca, New York, Rebecca Yang will graduate from the Walsh School of Foreign Service with a major in international politics and a certificate in Asian studies. After volunteering in China in the village of her late grandfather, she established a foundation that supports rural education and environmental protection in China. At Georgetown, she has been part of the Carroll Fellows Initiative, which awarded her the Romanelli Prize for the student who best embodies the program's motto, the life of the mind for the life of the world. She has tutored Chinese immigrants in Chinatown through the DC Schools Project and created the Georgetown University Farmers Market's first food blog. She has served as the Vice President of Amnesty International on campus, was a member of the Undergraduate Honor Council, and a coordinator for the Preparing to Excel pre-orientation program. She has been elected to Alpha Sigma Nu, the National Jesuit Honor Society, and Pi Sigma Alpha, the National Political Science Honor Society. In 2011, Rebecca was awarded one of the highly competitive Thomas R. Pickering Fellowships, sponsored by the United States Department of State. Following graduation, she will begin a master's in public policy at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, and after completing her studies there, she will join the State Department as an officer in the U.S. Foreign Service. Rebecca, congratulations.
We may not see it this way, but you and I have just lived through a revolution. As radical as a revolution that transformed my parents' lives in Maoist China. During Mao's Cultural Revolution, my mother's family members were persecuted as capitalist voters, so she spent her childhood living in extreme poverty. My stepfather was sent to the country during the Down to the Countryside movement to do hard manual labor. When the Cultural Revolution ended, my mother witnessed the beginning of China's economic revolution. But political reform lagged far behind, and her family still continued to suffer under the stigma of a blacklist. So she moved to America, where she could start a new life in a democratic country. We lived in poverty for the first few years of my life. But then, through her unremitting hard work in establishing a small business, we were able to make a living. Those who remained in China experienced an unprecedented economic revolution, one that the world had never seen before. The size of the Chinese economy doubled every 8 years for 3 decades. Today, the 20 fastest growing cities are all in China. In a single generation, China has gone from being economically backward to being the world's second largest economy. China's economic revolution has allowed it to compress the West's 200 years of industrialization into 30. Have we gone through anything like this? Many of you are also immigrants, or the children of immigrants, and so you know something like my mother's story. And as the flags around us show, some of you have come from places with pasts like the one my mother knew. But for the majority of us, those of us who were born here and have enjoyed the advantages of American life, you may find little to identify in what I have just recalled. But just imagine stripping away from your life Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, your iPad, your iPod, your iPhone, and your BlackBerry. The youngest billionaire and his colleagues in Silicon Valley have fundamentally changed the way we practice diplomacy, conduct business, and communicate in ordinary daily life. What used to become obsolete in 5 years now becomes obsolete in 2, or even just 1 year. The 2.0 5 years ago is now the 6.0. This digital revolution has set us a generation apart from even those only a decade older than ourselves. Happily, to experience this change, we didn't have to go into exile or move to another country, though part of this revolution means that many of us will in fact live for large parts of our lives outside the US, because we are a generation of global citizens. But we are already harnessing entrepreneurial drive and innovation, along with our individual energy and persistence to solve tough problems. And despite a still fragile economy, we feel an unbridled self-confidence, a keen optimism about the power of the individual to make a difference. We embrace independence. We insist on self-reliance. And because of Georgetown, we enjoy a genuinely global viewpoint. It hasn't been a bloody revolution, but it's been a revolution all the same. As my mom has always told me, the Chinese character for crisis, Wei Ji, also contains part of the character for opportunity, Ji Yu. The world before us presents many challenges, but our class, the class of 2012, has already shown how to change challenge into opportunity. Let me name just a few of the many classmates I can point to with pride. Funded by one of Georgetown's Lisa J. Raines Fellowships, Caroline Makumi lived among people with albinism in Tanzania and Kenya, studying their lives, learning their stories. The cutting-edge research that emerged from those encounters has led to a paper that helps governments formulate strategies to counter cultural superstitions about albinism and to prevent skin cancers and blindness, not only in the people she met, but in the thousands of individuals whose lives would be changed by what she accomplished. Through their program, Re-Envision the Hilltop, Mike Meany and Greg LeVerrier, as GUSA President and Vice President, successfully funded the GUSA Summer Fellows Program, oversaw the successful passage of the Student Activities Fee Endowment Reform, instituted Project Movement, an initiative that helps incoming students become acclimated to campus life, launched a student-led institutional review in the Student Life Report, and convinced the Disciplinary Review Committee to raise the burden of proof needed to find students responsible for code of conduct violations. In 12 months, they fundamentally reshaped the relationship of student government to the university administration, and in the process, transformed Hoya life for decades to come. While studying abroad in South Africa, Reza Henley Namavar experienced what it meant to live life offline. His peers at the University of Cape Town had to wait hours to use the internet. And when he himself became ill, without internet access, he was unable to find medicine or a doctor. In response, Reza founded Dream Mobile, a company that seeks to connect the world through smartphones, specifically by providing mobile solutions to youth in developing countries. With a small team of 3 other Georgetown seniors, Gwen Schwartz, Benjamin McAfee, and Adosa Agayere, Dream Mobile has already developed its first smartphone and has prototypes ready for launch. This Georgetown-powered team aims to revolutionize the South African smartphone market, creating phones tailored to the needs of the local people, and at the same time, providing South African youth with business skills and an income stream. This small selection of our classmates represents only a sliver of what our class has already accomplished, what we are capable of, and what we strive for. But it also shows us that, against the backdrop of this digital revolution, personal connections still ultimately give meaning to the direction of our lives. We have become who we are because of the people with whom we have studied and worked and lived on this hilltop. The friend who stayed up all night with you, just talking. The professor who opened your eyes to an issue that you now find compelling. The mentor who showed you that it's okay to fail because you have the talent and the time to grow through failure. At Georgetown, each one of us has a compelling story about the people who have shaped us into the energetic, engaged, and enterprising individuals we are today. And so now, as we leave Georgetown and say goodbye to the people who have been crucial to our lives, Let's hold on to what has driven us while we were here. Always reaching out for the magis, for the more, whether it be for Georgetown, for one another, or for the world. Now that is revolutionary. Thank you.